It began as a sunny afternoon in a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind of place where kids played on front lawns and couples waved from porches. But beneath the surface, trouble was brewing. A man named Marcus and his wife, Angela, had just moved into the community, eager to start fresh. What they didn't know was that two self-proclaimed HOA enforcers were watching them closely. From the moment Marcus parked his truck, the men whispered about rules and control, pretending to have authority. The audience might wonder, what happens when ordinary residents stand up to those who cross the line? This story takes a shocking turn, one no one in that neighborhood would ever forget. Angela was in the garden, planting flowers by the driveway, when the two men approached. Dressed in polo shirts and clipboards, they called themselves HOA security, though no one had ever seen them before. With stern voices, they accused her of violating rules about landscaping. Angela tried to explain calmly that they had only just moved in, but the men grew more aggressive. Their tone shifted from formal to threatening. Neighbors peeked through blinds, watching silently. Angela, never one to back down, stood her ground. But what happened next would shake her to her core and ignite a storm. One of the fake officers suddenly shoved Angela, knocking her to the ground. Shocked gasps echoed from nearby porches. Angela's breath caught in her throat as she realized these men weren't here for rules, they wanted power. Instead of helping, the second man moved closer, raising his hand as if to strike again. Angela cried out, her voice echoing down the street. The supposed enforcers had crossed a line so deep it tore through the calm of the neighborhood. Yet they had no idea who Angela's husband was, or what he was capable of when someone he loved was harmed. At that very moment, Marcus returned home from a run. Still in his workout gear, he froze when he saw Angela on the ground. Rage surged through his veins, but his training kept him focused. Marcus wasn't just a husband, he was a retired Navy SEAL, a man who had faced chaos in deserts and oceans alike. Without hesitation, he rushed forward. The two fake officers sneered, mocking him, as if daring him to intervene. But Marcus's eyes told a different story. Calm, precise, unshakable. What they thought was an easy scare was about to become a lesson in consequences. The first man lunged at Marcus, fists swinging wildly. But Marcus moved like water, sidestepping, grabbing the attacker's wrist, and sending him crashing to the pavement in one motion. Gasps rang out as neighbors finally spilled onto porches, watching in disbelief. The second man, realizing his partner was down, charged angrily. Marcus planted his feet, deflected the blow, and countered with precision. Within seconds, both men lay on the ground, groaning in pain, their false authority stripped away. Angela stood, shaken but safe, as her husband stood tall, protecting not just her but the dignity of their home. As the dust settled, neighbors gathered around, applauding Marcus's bravery. Angela leaned on him, holding back tears of both fear and relief. Police sirens wailed in the distance, summoned by onlookers who had finally found their voices. When officers arrived, the truth spilled out. The two so-called HOA cops had no real authority. They were imposters, preying on fear and control. Handcuffed and humiliated, the men were taken away. The neighborhood buzzed with whispers. No one had expected Marcus to reveal his past, nor that such violence could erupt on their quiet street. In the days that followed, the community changed. Neighbors who had once hidden behind curtains now stood shoulder to shoulder with Marcus and Angela. They apologized for not stepping in sooner, realizing how fear had silenced them. Angela, though shaken, grew stronger, her voice more confident than ever. Marcus never boasted about his past, but his quiet presence became a shield for the neighborhood. The story of that day spread far beyond the cul-de-sac, a reminder that false power crumbles when faced with true courage. And in the heart of that suburban street, peace was rebuilt, not through fear, but through unity and resilience.